Good evening, meatbags and microchips. This is the hardly mostly daily dose of Twilight. As always, my sources may be dubious. Do your own research, remain skeptical, and always maintain a healthy level of intellectual self-defense. Hello, my fellow law-abiding citizens, suburban vigilantes, and people who forgot that Mexico was going to pay for the border wall. Tonight, we tackle the greatest existential threat this nation has ever faced. People walking across the desert without paperwork. Yep, you heard it right, folks. Unlawful migration is once again being framed as a full-scale invasion. How dare they invade us with all of that delicious, cheap ethnic food? A truck at every corner with savory ethnic dishes at an affordable price. How terrifying. I know. Some say it's a crime wave, others say it'll collapse the system, but let's be honest, it's mostly just people with brown skin who are showing up without an appointment. Now, don't get confused. When a rich European investor overstays his visa to buy a second Airbnb in Miami, that's called entrepreneurship. But when a Guatemalan teenager does it after walking 1,300 miles to escape a cartel that's been armed by the CIA, illegal alien alert! Ah! How dare he flee the violence that's being fueled by America's dope habit? And calling them criminals, too, for not having documents. It's a civil violation, kind of like rolling through a stop sign, jaywalking, and parking too close to a fire hydrant. Yet, somehow, your door isn't being kicked down and you're not being treated like a dangerous felon because you parked 3 inches over the red curb. But here we are, watching presidential candidates promise to deport 11 million undocumented people because nothing screams fiscal responsibility like building a billion-dollar system to evict people who are already here paying taxes and cleaning your bathrooms and offices. And speaking of taxes, yes, most undocumented migrants pay taxes. They file returns, they pay Social Security, and they get none of it back. Yet every election cycle, the same crowd climbs out of their lifted pickup trucks shouting, "They're breaking the law! It's illegal! It's in the name!" Similarly, every college kid who pirated an episode of Breaking Bad is also a hardened criminal. Every dad who has a busted taillight is one broken bulb away from Gitmo. Funny how we don't call the settlers who migrated into every inch of North America criminals. No, they were pioneers. And it gets better. The same folks yelling, "Go back to where you came from!" often can't pass a 5th grade geography quiz. They think asylum is a haunted house and TPS is a cut of steak. They believe people are fleeing Honduras because of bad vibes rather than government collapse, US-funded paramilitaries, and an occasional hurricane strong enough to relocate your house to another time zone. But why let facts get in the way? We have a thriving deportation industry to maintain, private detention centers with stock tickers, border wall contracts, drone contracts, surveillance balloons over El Paso. The whole Homeland Security machine needs fresh criminals to chase, so why not target the most vulnerable people? The ones who can't vote, can be deported for organizing, and can't afford a lawyer. It's like declaring war on jaywalkers because wealthy tax frauds have better legal representation. Meanwhile, these same migrants pick your food, build your homes, care for your grandparents, and have always been the backbone of America's economic might. You'd think the least we could offer them is a path to legal status. But no, better to keep them in limbo. Not quite welcome, but not quite gone either. Just hovering in a permanent state of exploited purgatory, so we can keep wages low and moral outrage high. And here's the punchline. You, fellow citizens, are more likely to commit a crime today than the average undocumented migrant. Study after study confirms it. But sure, tell me more about how José from Oaxaca is the greatest threat to our civilization ever, while Carl from Scottsdale gets wasted and plows his truck through a Walgreens. But let's be honest, this isn't actually about law enforcement, it's about theater. It's the illusion of security dressed up in Kevlar, aimed at the most vulnerable scapegoats available. You want to fix unlawful migration? Well, don't worry, they don't. But if they did, they'd start with doing actual legal stuff, working through backlogged cases, hiring more judges, doing something about the dystopian Powerball we call the visa lottery. But that would require competence, and it would be dramatically less profitable for the arms and private prison industry. So next time someone says, "Hey, they're illegal, end of story," ask them how many speeding tickets it takes to make a criminal. Ask them if their great-grandparents had permission from the Sioux when they settled Kansas. Ask them why the rules change depending on who's breaking them. Because if you're a criminal for not having paperwork, then you're a criminal for speeding on the freeway. I'm Benjamin, reminding you that migrants without documents are criminals like soccer moms with expired tags on their minivans are criminals. And this has been another episode of the Hardly Mostly Daily Dose of Twilight. As always, let me know what you think in the comments.
From my attic I stab it thee!